I'm Ashley Jones. I am your 5th grade math CTL for the school year, and this is going to be our Unit 1 preview for 5th grade math. Unit 1 will cover August 14th through September 22nd. At the top is my email address. It is asjones@uplifteducation.org. A lot of times people put A Jones, but please make sure you put the AS Jones in order to reach me via email. Our agenda for today is the scope and sequence, the unit at a glance, key ideas and potential misconceptions. I'll briefly go over the annotated model lessons that you guys will receive, and a resource bank. If you log in to your Blackboard page, by this time everyone should have access to the 5th grade Blackboard. If not, please email me and I will make sure that you get your access that you need. On the 5th grade homepage, if you look over to the left, you will find all of the links that you will need. First one we're going to look at is the scope and sequence here. The scope and sequence is available to everyone, and it gives us the overview of the unit that we are going to be working with. Again, our Unit 1 is from August 14th through September 22nd. It starts on the 14th because the week before we consider our week 0, where you implement a lot of your classroom expectations and procedures to set the tone for the school year. But looking at our scope and sequence, here you'll see the writing, reading, science, and social studies. But since I'm the math CTL, obviously we're going to be focused on math. The scope and sequence tells us how we can make connections to our PYP overview, and how we are able to use our key concepts and things of that sort. So make the scope and sequence your best friend. Going forward with the scope and sequence, it is broken down. Here you have your year at a glance, and it breaks down all of the units here from August through May. Again, here's the week 0 I was telling you about, and highlighted in yellow is our Unit 1, which we are focusing on extending place value concepts. The red arrow is going to be pointing to your dates. So each unit will give you a date for the start and end of the unit, which is good to know because it allows you to know when you can expect the end of unit assessment. Here, the pacing, 6 weeks, 24 instructional days, 5 flex days. The flex days can be used at your discretion, but the unit at a glance, just accounts for all of the instructional days as well as the unit assessments. The blue arrow here, this is the unit focus as a whole. It tells you what they should have learned or what they were taught in the 4th grade, and how it will continue and build up into the 5th grade. Going forward, still working on our scope and sequence. If you look, Unit 1, you'll have an overview of all the TEKS that we'll be covering in Unit 1. We do start off with the foundation skills, but these skills are vital to our 5th grade curriculum. If you notice, we start simple with place value, comparing and ordering decimals, but we end the unit with multiplying and dividing decimals, so we move pretty quickly along the curriculum. Please pay attention to which are readiness standards, which will be identified here in the bold. It says readiness. If it doesn't say that, that means it is supporting. On the scope and sequence, you will also find assistance with explaining the TEK and bite-sized pieces if you don't understand the broad technology terms of the TEKs. Here, scope and sequence, you'll see the TEK. Here's unpacking the TEKs. This is the bite-sized explanation I was telling you about. It takes a TEK and break it down to the different things you actually will have to teach. Here is example of anchor questions. And for Unit 1, we also have an advantage because the misconceptions are laid out for us. Okay, if we're going back to our Blackboard under 5th grade math, you will find the different folders for each. So in your unit at a glance and unit previews, this is where you will find how the whole unit is broken down and the suggested amount of days that it can be used to teach a TEK, and also your unit previews, which is the virtual unit preview I am doing now. You'll find this file under this folder. Here, annotated model lessons. I am responsible for uploading. For the school year, you're going to get 10 annotated model lessons from me, and what that is a very detailed lesson with annotations on the side that explains the reasoning why things are the way they are, and that is just to help you along when you're planning your own lessons, or if you have any questions, or if you need an example to look back through. Resource bank. This will be a continuous work in progress as materials will be added throughout the year. So you could go here if you're looking for some worksheets, some examples, some ideas, maybe even you can even find some website links, probably some reading material to help you along with your planning or just background knowledge if you need it. At any time that you have a suggestion like, hey, I think 5th grade across the board can use this resource, just shoot me an email. I'll look it over, and then, you know, if it's doable, I will add it to the resource bank so everyone will have access to it. Artifacts will also be a work in progress. Artifacts will be things that we will be looking for once a lesson is complete or during a lesson, so it'll be good examples of do's and don'ts and finished products as to far as products that are a work in progress and of those sorts. Office hours will be actually discussed and determined during our collaboration day kickoff. But to give you a brief overview what office hours are, it will be a time where all of the math planners get together and have basically a video conference call to address questions, concerns, or anything that we need to ask that is pertaining to 5th grade math. Here is the unit at a glance. If you look at the unit at a glance, it is broken down to pacing notes. That will be the suggested time for you to teach the TEK for that day or for the next couple of days. So you have pacing notes, your TEK, your objective, the potential misconceptions, and you will also have access to the objective assessment. Here, keep in mind that pacing is only a suggested time. Now, every classroom, of course, is not going to be the same, and you're going to know your scholars. So if your scholar picked up on a TEK that was suggested it takes 2 days to teach, by all means move forward and make use the time for a TEK that they are maybe struggling with or taking a little bit longer to teach. The pacing days are only suggested. Now keep in mind though that the unit assessment day that day the unit assessment has to be done by the end of that unit. So make sure your pacing allows time for you to take that unit assessment. Again, another look at the unit at a glance, how it's broken down, how it's written. If you have any questions or concerns or problems reading it, please feel free to contact me. At the bottom, again, it is our side note. Pacing notes are suggested timeline. Use your Scholar data to determine how many days should be dedicated to a particular TEK. Here is an example of our AMLs, our annotated model lesson. The AML will be found under the model lesson folder. This is to provide you with an example of a lesson plan, with math usually being the 5E model, as well as my rationale of the plan will be available in the comments section. So you'll pull up your plan. It will look like this, but on the side you will have my thought process. Why am I doing this section here? What does it look like? How is it going to help us? What should the teacher be doing? There will also be scripting throughout the lesson to help guide you through the lessons, for check for understandings, and to make sure we're on the same pathway. The resource bank, as I mentioned earlier, it is going to be a folder that is always under construction, because math builds on each other, and as we go into a different unit, there's going to be different resources available for use. So right now, I believe there's a folder for Unit 1 resources, which is a lot of items that can be used for Unit 1. Now, that's not to say that you cannot go back into that folder during Unit 2 if you found something that you really like, but that's just helped me to organize all of the resources that we will have coming our way. Office hours. Office hours will be discussed and determined during Collaboration Day on August 1st. Like I mentioned before, it is a time for everyone to sit down, have a video conference if you have questions for me or about the scope of sequence or anything of that sort, or if you have a question about upcoming plans or something that you struggle with, you can use that time to bring it up during office hours, but again, we will determine the day and time office hours will be set, and we're going to just be looking for something that works for everyone. And questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email address is asjones@uplifteducation.org. I will be officially back at work on the 31st with everyone else, but until then, I will be checking my email. And remember, teamwork always makes the dream work.